Hello, everyone. Welcome to this ArchiFrame webinar. We will be starting shortly. My name is Kaylee Taura. I work in the marketing team for ArchiFrame. ArchiFrame is a timber add-on for Archicad. And today I am joined by the ArchiFrame CEO, Petteri Heiskari, who will be talking to us and going through the entire process of how to model a timber house using Archicad and ArchiFrame and take us through to CNC. Okay. The event today is being recorded, and you can also send us any questions during the event. Petteri will be starting the presentation shortly. And if there's something that comes up during the presentation, you could just send it on the chat or use the Q&A function, and then we'll answer them at the end. And also at the end of the presentation, Petteri also will have some time for questions as well. So if you've got any specific things, and also feel free to email us afterwards as well. But we're very, very excited. This region is very important to us, and we're really enjoying working with local resellers in your area. And we really want to just kind of see how we can make ArchiFrame even better for all of the things that you need to do. And just before I hand over the baton to Petteri, just obviously want to say as well that we do have the new version of ArchiFrame as well, with the new version of Archicad. So yeah, Petteri might give us some information on how the tool has been developed over the last couple of years and some of the new handy features. But Petteri, I think without further ado, I'll pass it on to you. And please, just so you're aware when you're asking your questions, this is being recorded as well. So just keep that in mind. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kaylee, and welcome from my side also. Today's topic is modeling existing Archicad model family house all the way to CNC machines. So, and at the beginning, I will show some real-world customer models with a bit different techniques and constructions. This first one is a CLT kindergarten from our Austrian users, Pearl company. They have their own Hundegger at their workshop, so they mostly do timber frame and stud frame walls, but they also do CLT. And let's see what is inside this building. So show only the CLT part and the data transfer. How the CLT is taken to the CLT factory. It is a 3D IFC file, and it works. This company, they have used KLH, Binderholz, and Stora Enso factories. And also we have companies in Finland using CLT, making modules or then just elements. And I know they have also used IFC 3D format to take this information to the factory. So the main demonstration will be about stud frame. So this just to see what can be done with ArchiFrame. One example. Then the next example, this is a Norwegian company, Birkeland Brug, that has their own factory with Weinmann cut saw. They do pre-cut, so basically the load-bearing part of the house. They model it for construction or cut the pieces, then cut the pieces and pack those in their factory. And one interesting feature on this model is that these MEP air ventilation tubes, they are modeled with some external software and imported as IFC into this Archicad model. And you can use this to cut, for example, cut these floor joists. So I used the drilling tool, picking these as cutting operators, then select a few pieces as targets, and then drill these having 10mm oversize compared to this existing part in 3D model. So here you see that there is a small gap between the tube and the floor joist drilling. Then the next one, this is closer to today's main topic. This is from Korean Space Factory. They built fully one-man-based production line. I think they started 1.5 years ago and started production last autumn. I think they really started using this the new production line with the new software Archicad ArchiFrame during September. And they also make these as modules. So from the floor you see what is the module division. So we have 4 modules here. And they have selected, as you see here, they will just put full boards and then cut away. They get some waste, but that is a choice they have chosen to do like this. And the element drawings that ArchiFrame has generated to assemble this. This factory, as I said, they have the cut saw and then they have framing station. So this there's a special part of this opening module here. This factory they have standard ones, and they easily with custom automation they get these opening modules as they are here. So they have beams at the top and then the required number of those king studs on the side of the openings. And then they have the first framing station. It installs the first board, nails it, but it doesn't cut the boards. I think the first framing station doesn't even have the saw tool possibility, so it has only the nail gun. Then the next station puts in the next station the second boarding layer is installed and nailed, and then the both boarding layers are cut here. So here you see some of the cuts, they have a depth of 25 millimeters to cut both boarding layers. Then this red one is cutting only the topmost boarding layer. Then here we have the view from both sides. So they install all electricity inside the wall. So they also install the inside walls. So they turn the element and then it goes to the next framing station to do the inside boarding. All right, then it is time to do this. Complete this house. So this is from Finnish Sievi-Elementti, a factory or company that has internal architect studio and element factory, and also they handle the building site, so from beginning to the end. I believe they are not developers, so there is another company then buying the land and financing building these houses. But anyway, there's a good base having ready-made Archicad, native Archicad model, and then let's switch to layer combination showing what has been done with ArchiFrame already here. So we have the inner construction of the walls already made to all walls except this one. And let's add this missing wall. To do that, I go to the second floor, select layer combination showing architect stuff and the ArchiFrame construction at the same time. So this is the wall that is missing the construction. And Kelly mentioned that the ArchiFrame is an extension to Archicad. So after installing, you'll find it from options menu, and this is ArchiFrame main menu. I will use this element tool to add a new structure. We can go into these details how this composite is defined at the end of today's presentation, but now I'll simply just add this element. I'll cheat a bit. I take the settings from this existing wall here, this one, And now what I got here into this palette, I got the top level and bottom level of the main framing. And the architect cannot know what these levels actually are because he or she doesn't know how the floor connects to the second floor wall, and also how the trusses connect at the top. So this is something the structural engineer has defined these levels and designed the overall structure of this house. And yeah, we don't have to follow architect model one-to-one, but we can, for example, force these bottom and top levels. Then some layer offsets I'll show you soon, and then I'll place my element here showing the inner side of the main framing. And now we got the first phase, the placeholders for the real structure. And here you see there is a random ID. Architect hasn't paid attention to the wall IDs because it's not part of his or her job. So this is the latest phase to give IDs to elements. So I say this external wall 90. Then set the corners to one of the presets that have been taught to ArchiFrame earlier. And we get these layers compatible with this this existing corner. Then what we have in 3D, so we have the placeholders, and here you see what the layer offset mean. So here the inner layer starts higher than the main framing, and the cladding here also starts higher. So you can control all these edge offsets, and then also for this opening to be able to install the metal plate taking the raindrops away. It's slightly going downwards with the layer offset. And when this is ready, having the ID, the corners are set, and the offsets are good, then it's time to create the actual structure here. And I did it clicking this create blanks. Now we got the cladding here. Let's hide it to see inside. Then we have the airspace layer and the windshield boards. Then we have the main framing. And finally, I think this is also the way in Baltic countries that you have additional layer for more insulation and electric installations at the inside. Or it is up to you. It is you define whether you have it here in the composite settings. Then the floor plan, it looks like this, and you have full control of everything. You can, for example, delete something that is not needed. And here we got this duplicate start here because of our spacing rule of 600 millimeters. So this would have been too long gap. And there was another rule that says that the minimum distance between studs is 10 millimeters. So that's why we have a gap, small gap here. Then the most important end results of ArchiFrame and this element design work are these element drawings, 2D documents. What we have here with this first projection is only the main framing looked from inside, its weight and center of gravity without windows, and then with windows. Then all these automatic dimension lines based on the settings, ArchiFrame settings, top projection, cladding, the airspace, and so on. And here the dimension lines for layer offset. So here it tells that this airspace layer and the windshield board, they are 2 to 3 millimeters offsetted from the main framing. And yeah, the dimensional line for the studs, you have option in the settings. You can define whether to get it to the center, left or right of the stud. And a cut list for the main framing. No cuts yet, so the cut information field is empty. Then we have projections from inside this for insulation cutting, basically the width of the space between the studs. Then we have the studding, additional studding here from inside, and the related cut list for the internal studding. Here, if we modeled insulation, it would be here. And for example, in this space factory model here, the insulation is modeled and it's visible here also in the element drawings.
Petteri, sorry to interrupt. We had a quick
Yeah.
question about
Okay,
studding,
great.
so I thought I would ask it now.
Yeah.
So the question is, can ArchiFrame generate studs and other elements on a hot link project without breaking the hot link?
Yes, it can. So you can have it, or you can have any kind of reference as read only. For ArchiFrame, if it's editable, the source wall where you add, for example, where I added this one, then ArchiFrame is able to add more information that enables copy paste between Archicad. So then you could take this, the whole element and wall, copy it from here to another Archicad, and then all the links between this ArchiFrame element and originating Archicad wall, they are preserved. But if it's read only, then that link is lost, but that's not a big deal.
Okay, thank you. I think that answered the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Then we have the view from outside. Sorry, this is element drawing that has been slightly tailored to this finish.
So, Petteri, just another question on zooming in. Wondering if you could zoom into the dimension line of the insulation, if possible.
Yeah.
Yes, perfect.
Here
You
we
see
are.
it a bit more. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, this, I don't know why this is here. I think this should be actually here. So here we have 558 is the width here, and then yeah, here this tells the height of the window parts, and then this one for the full, if it's full. Okay, I guess that explains. And then you have the windshield boards and the cladding with a cut list and more dimensional lines. But yes, now automation has done its work, so it's time for the real design work. And let's add a beam supporting the trusses here. And ArchiFrame element options tool is very handy on this kind of things. I'll add a top bulk back. So we got the beam here and then automatic slots for the beam. And we can set the beam size as needed. I put something bigger to 25. And then if you have a cut saw but no not framing station, then having marking grooves will help you assemble this element. So the marking grooves show the position of each stud like this. Then another option, I'll set the settings for marking lines to be on the front side, on this narrow side, because that works the best, at least with Hundegger CNC. So I select everything here and then check the marking lines. So this alternative to these marking rules. And yeah, if you didn't add these, the stud IDs, this would be faster than making these rules. Just doing these lines somehow with inkjet or I know Hundegger has a steel finger that scratches the wood and marks it that way. And then you can also work in this element drawing So for example, if you need some diagonal support here, you can do that in this element drawing. And let's then trim these pieces using the blank tools. So with these element related pieces, you can use any ArchiFrame blank tools to edit your element. So here also what I can do is use this another ArchiFrame blank tool, pick this as operator, and then trim this one. And here I actually want to use -5 mm gap because the groove is 5 mm deep. So now it extends nicely to the end of the groove. Then the steps to do if you have a framing station are to work with, or let's add the nailings and saw cuts to the cladding layer. So I open the board tools here, and the first step is to explode this to separate pieces. Here you have a chance to adjust the height of one panel piece depending on the batch of the raw material you have. It might not be exactly the nominal height. Then let's add the nailings, selecting. Yep.
I had some questions regarding the upper window part. I don't know if we could quickly just zoom in on that. It's about so about the framing solution in the upper window. Yeah, the system generating the lintel, or is it manual placement only? Some questions around the lintel placement.
Yeah. I'll quickly add the nailing since I have a nice selection here. So I use a preset here, and the important settings here are the one nail to 30 mm from the bottom and another 45 from the top. So now we got nailings to the cladding pieces. And then let's add first the lintel. And I think I added the whole beam, or let's do that in 3D so you see better. Yeah, so we have this beam already on the back side. So let's add a lintel to this one on the element tools. And here you could define your own rules depending on the opening width. But I'll use this custom one where we have all the options. So the material for the lintel, and let's put 2 beams to the front side, extend this one, and no cutting but making the similar slot like we have here. So if we have CNC, that's a good one. Then how many studs to add here? Here we had an option to place below top plate. I'll place it next to the window, but there is an option. And also you could, if you had multiple windows, you could add one beam if they were closer than any value you entered here. Now in this case, if they were closer than 300 mm from each other, the beam would be extended over the multiple windows. Okay, so we got these 2 beams here, and then we got the slot for these lintels. Then the next question was about battens, horizontal, and the short answer is that yes, you can have those, but know that in this case we have horizontal cladding. We have only one layer of battens, so the idea would be that you have 2 layers of battens. First one like this, and then the next one horizontal. Or if you are fine with just horizontal ones, then you could set this as horizontal. And let's jump to the element settings slightly at this point to show how you would define it as horizontal. So now this is the raised base layer with material 48 by 48, and it's defined as airspace strips vertical. So this would produce then horizontal ones. Since we have horizontal cladding, I will not change the definition of this element, but that was the place to define it. And then let's continue with our work to produce CNC for framing station. So the next one is to have nails for for the windshield board. So for that I selected the boards and then the main framing behind it. So the nail targets and then where the nails are actually shot. And another preset, the most important settings here, spacing at the edge is 150 millimeters and in the middle 300 millimeters. So here you see in the middle, this is about 300 and here this is about 150. And also there was a rule to stagger these two nailings so that if you have staples so that they don't accidentally collide here. And let's say we are happy with this, how this element is now. Before production, we need to update it. So this will give similar IDs, similar blanks, update all the dimension lines, cut the lists, and calculate the weight of the element. Important to remember this before producing the final end result. So let's have a look of the main framing cut list because we have a few pieces having some slots. So they are visible here in case you don't have a CNC cut saw. And let's produce the end results here. Maybe I'll skip the listings. You can generate any Archicad schedules, and then we have some Excel output from here. But let's write the CNC to the cut saw and to the framing station with a single click. So it's this exporter will do that. And in addition, we have the default is Hundegger BB and VTL for some Italian saws. Also, I think it was German Tiger is under this one. VVX for Hundegger if you have Cambium controlling the machine. For Swedish Randek and the Randek framing station. Salvador is an Italian saw. Then if you have Weinmann cut saw, then you should use Weinmann VTL. And then we have this whoop framing station. But this one will write the whoop and VTL for Weinmann machines. And yeah, I selected it to extend the selection to the whole element and write everything. And then let's see the result. We should have two files here. So the VTL file, I'll open it in the Weinmann Works. Because in the VTL viewer, typically everything looks to be fine, but then when you open here, then it might not be what you expect. But these simple ones, and yeah, this has been used by quite many customers for many years, so it should be just fine. The VTL. So here we have first the bottom or top plate having the marking grooves, and here you see one of the studs having slot for the lintel and then for the beam at the top. Let's see if I can click there, but let's see this one. So here we have the separate cuts as Weinmann sees those. This slot, I believe this means that this SG means that Weinmann will do it with a saw blade, two saw cuts here, so it's pretty fast to do. And then the end. And then the other file, which was this framing station. It's opening here. So no surprise, this is what we see in ArchiFrame, having all the nailings here. And I think I forgot actually to add the saw cuts. Yeah. So let's do that step and write the file again. So create the saw cuts, and then I will add the millings to the corner of this window to properly remove the piece. So we have the saw cuts, and then we have a short milling here to each corner. And then let's write the CNC file again, having the saw cuts for the cladding layer. This was an exception. If you add saw cuts, there is no need to update the element. So reload this one, and then we'll see how the saw cuts are in the corner. Okay, let's take the milling codes here and then zoom in a bit. So here
Just
we have, yeah.
a quick question about static calculations as well. You can come back to it at the end as well, but can we use this to do statics calculation, or do you have some tool that you'd recommend if not? Works with Archicad.
Yeah, in ArchiFrame we don't have anything for static calculation. I know in Middle Europe they are using Global, and then we have talked with Axis V and another Hungarian software. But I believe maybe, I don't know if Moreno is here participating, maybe he can answer at the end if he is using some software. But yeah, about this milling, so we have the saw cut PSG code, and then these are okay, that's for another corner. I have to zoom out. No, it was this one, yeah. So we have the additional milling codes here. Well, lost the place, but yeah, we have the path codes in every corner. And let's have a look at these elements, so multi-layer element here in this WOOP editor. So consists of multiple layers. It's so sensitive to the mouse movements, you have to be very careful. So also this diagonal part is visible here. Not something that the framing station can really connect. And yeah, one step I didn't do was to define this as opening module. I'll do it now. So you need to assemble this opening part before you take it to the framing station. And for that, we have a nice automation, so it will be marked automatically. And now if I update, I will get also dimensional line for this opening module. And this will be in the book file as module. And yeah, this is what I thought to show about CNC. Then there are many details to go deeper, but those are something we could have as one-to-one meetings. So please contact your Archicad seller or directly us, and we can have a closer look in more details. And also what Archicad provides, which is very useful for construction, is the BIMX. So if you navigate to bimx.graphisoft.com, search for ArchiFrame, you find, for example, this. Thank you, Moreno. Design is model. You can have a look. There is a 3D model, and then we have some 2D drawings. So the overall floor plan, and then I think these are the individual elements. And our customers, they are using this not so much for these 2D documents, but for element installation. and to have this structure, especially if you have complicated connections with roof, it's very handy to be able to have a look on this 3D model, how the connection, how this corner is actually meant to be done. So here you see the pieces. And the final piece of information, our web page, you can just Google for ArchiFrame, and then you can download ArchiFrame trial, and you will need Archicad to be able to use it. So if you don't have Archicad, then then you will need to install first Archicad trial, and then you can continue with ArchiFrame. And the warning, Archicad is a complicated program. To get well started with it, I always recommend you to have a training by our Baltic Archicad distributors. And the same applies for ArchiFrame. When you download the trial, you get information about, you get links to learn yourself videos, and also link to our weekly support session. It's Tuesdays from 3 to 4 our local time. And you're free to come there with any questions you might have during your trial, or even if you're further during usage. And of course, also when you enter your information and get the email about this trial, you'll get the support email as well.
Yeah, I dropped a link as well to the file, to the trial, sorry, the form earlier as well, so you can also check the chat for that. I've still got a couple of questions, Petteri, if you don't mind. I've just been hoovering up the chat. So there was a question here about Archicad floor joists, so beams be converted to ArchiFrame joists then added into the floor elements.
Yeah, that can be done, and let me show one example here about this Finnish manufacturer, how they have done a floor element. So this is the element drawing. They have used special, this was easy joist or something like that. So they have metal pieces here. What they have done here, this is full 2D work, these drawings here. But then all from these 2D drawings to the left, they are ArchiFrame stuff. So yeah, we have floor joists, and to answer the specific question was if you had a ArchiCAD beam, I'll add one just following this one. Okay, new layer and place it. Let's make it a bit tilted. So here we have a Archicad beam, and then you can convert it to ArchiFrame blank, and with this block it will be exactly the size of this Archicad beam. And I'll delete the existing Archicad beam and make ArchiFrame blank from it. So now you can use all ArchiFrame tools. Now this is a blank, and you can use all ArchiFrame tools and get CNC and use other ArchiFrame tools with it. And the final answer, how to get this into your element drawing. Let's see if this is, this is not a part of element, but I will add it to this wall element drawings. So I'll take this projection tool, get this blank here, then go to the element drawing, or I can simply actually attach the blank. Now it will be a part of this main framing. I can attach only projection, so then it will not be really part of the element. And now it's visible in the element drawing. And there, while it's opening, we could take or ask Moreno, are you using some static calculation software, or do we have any other ArchiFrame user here that could answer?
Yes, tell us in the chat, or I don't know if you can unmute yourselves, but yeah, tell us if you've got any good suggestions on the tools. I also had another question, Petteri, as well, just so you're prepared about steel fastening elements. So what libraries do we have? The Bjelkesko, I think that's a Norwegian wind anchoring angles, that kind of stuff. So yeah, just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, well, this the guy who has modeled this one, he has used some external library parts to model these bulk shoes. In ArchiFrame, we have generic ones, so you could add a bulk shoe here. Add it here, so we have bulk shoe. Then to the both ends, and I'll put some material that we'll see well. So we get this kind of generic one. And important thing here is this text here. So this gets listed. You get number of it that you have two pieces of this shoe 01. And we are planning to add this generic L and flat iron. But today this is all we have, this bulk shoe. And then the common way is to model these metal pieces using any library part, GDL library you can get.
Just going back to some of the comments, I think we were chatting with Moreno in the chat a little bit about the BVX1 files and having to do conversions. So that's an interesting point as well for anyone doing sort of working with different sort of CNC exporting. I know it's something that Petteri, you're always working on, like improving the process there when it comes to being more integrated with the machinery. And again, static calculations, if anyone's got any tools that they'd like to share, please feel free to drop them in the chat, send us an email afterwards as well. It's definitely something that we probably should be creating some resources around. And then there was something about the installation upper dimension line as well, when we were way back in the conversation earlier about zooming in, but we can always take that offline as well. But I thought that was really great. I definitely learned a lot and saw a lot of good processes there. I'm just going to actually drop Petteri's and mine's email as well in the chat if there's something that you still feel like we didn't quite cover. I know it's a very complex software, complex processes. We haven't got tons of time. So I also suggest that, you know, very happy to have one-on-one calls, even a group of you, if we can organize that. Very, very happy to sort of troubleshoot some models together.
Yeah, I'll show the Hundegger question. So yeah, we don't have a BVX 1.x, we have BVX 2 point something that opens with Cambium. But our customers today have been able to use this speed cut functionality to import BVN files. So here I have the speed cut, and let's see what happens if I drop this BVN file I just generated. The BVN file doesn't have any geometry, so we have just a list of the blanks here.
And another thing we thought of as well, Petteri, was do you actually have any footage of the cut saw in action? I feel like I've seen some, but I don't know if it was us or maybe it came from another user.
Let's see. I have some thing in my mind. It's Etvo 3.
Yeah. That might be quite useful. I think I saw one recently at a user webinar where they'd done one, but
I think they have it here, production.
yeah, and a good tip as well on the chat going back about the BVX1. So when asked for a BVX1 file, you can save it here after loading a BVN. So yeah, the conversion is possible.
Okay, yeah, don't have a nice video, but maybe if we send email to all you, we can find, or you can try your luck with YouTube. There, I know there are.
Yeah, but it's a good idea. It's really good to see the whole process from end to end as well. And we have run a little bit over time, but obviously this is being recording, so no problems if people had to go early. And obviously if people couldn't come live, you'll be accessing these recordings. And I did drop our emails in the chat already. So if you want to go away, watch it again, have a little think, you can just send us a message directly as well.
Okay, well, thank you from my side. This is the insulation, built-in insulation projection. If someone wanted to see the dimensionless more. So yeah, thank you, and please be in contact with us or your Archicad dealer for further information.
Yes, thank you very much. Excellent presentation, Bette. I really enjoyed that. Lovely to have so many questions. Thank you for being
Yes.
so active. Really, really appreciate it. We love hearing from you. And yeah, we'll be sending round the recording. And like I said, please don't be shy. We love talking to you. Please do ask questions. And yeah, thanks everyone for coming. And I hope you have a lovely afternoon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.